I really believe in the power of prayer. And it's, you do have kind of a feeling, it's kind of a calmness just to know that, ultimately we're in this world, but we're not of this world. And every single day when you're in this political thicket, they're throwing stuff at you, shooting at you, all this stuff, trying to kind of divert you off course of taking you away from that true north. And I think just being able to pray, being able to be in touch with the Lord, it just gives you a way to just know none of that stuff really matters. None of that stuff matters. And I can also tell you, just in trials and tribulations that we've had, when my wife in 2021 got diagnosed with breast cancer, at the time we had a 4 year old, a 3 year old, and a 1 year old. And so those types of diagnoses are hard for anyone, but I think especially when you have a mother of really young kids, to be in a situation where you could be having an incident where she may not get through that, and then these kids would grow up without a mother. It's very, very shocking when that happens. It was really tough for us when we got the news, but I'll tell you this: the people that prayed for us over those weeks and months had a huge impact, and it really lifted my wife's spirits. She had to go through a lot of really, really tough stuff, but she was able to do it. I obviously, as the husband and the father, was there to be supportive, and she ended up coming out of that, I would say, probably stronger now as a result. Not, she would never wish any of that anyone go through that, but I think she would tell you she's stronger as a result of having done that.
It's hard to hear a lot of people say that through trials and tribulations, thank God, it allows you to rediscover faith, to rediscover His face in your life. Would you say that it made you a better man to go through those trials and tribulations, taking, the hand of God?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think that it's a time where you kind of got to dig deep. You can think like, well, why would God allow this to happen? But these are things that we have to go through, and we all have different roadblocks. There's different pitfalls in life. It's not just a gold-plated road that you never have a care in the world. I mean, this is what you have to deal with, and that's really a time, I think, where your faith is tested. Some people turn away as a result of that because they're bitter that something happened. And I think my wife and I, we were more solid in our faith as a result of that.
You can imagine why voters would be interested in knowing everything about your life, since celebrity candidates have become really the thing. I mean, with Hillary, with Obama, you had the rise of the celebrity candidate, but also the rise of candidates who portray themselves as people of faith but aren't necessarily really that in their hearts. What kind of an answer do you have to that curiosity?
Well, I think one of the things that we bring, my wife and I, is this country has a crisis of family disintegration. You have forces that are actively hostile to family, trying to undermine rights of parents. I mean, I had a debate with the governor of California, and I pointed out in California law, they allow minors from other states behind their parents' back to go into California and get gender surgeries, which is basically mutilation. It's terrible. Parents don't even consent or know about this. That is a direct attack on parents and on family. And then we have so many kids that grow up without a father in the household. We've done a lot in Florida to launch a fatherhood initiative to raise the importance of fatherhood, to make sure folks know they have responsibilities, but then also in situations where it's just not possible to have a father present, sometimes fathers are in prison, to promote mentorship, because these kids, if someone takes an interest in their life, that could be the difference between them being productive or going in a really bad direction. So I think one of the things we bring is we show the importance of family.
You've discussed the life issue, and your stance on that is clear. Obviously, the life issue is very important to you. You're very pro-life, and you've gone back and forth on the best ways to protect life, a 6-week ban, a 15-week ban, whatever it is. Is it because it's personal to you? And have you taken losses because you're pro-life?
Well, look, part of it is just who I am and believing in a culture of life, but part of it is also understanding the way America was organized. I mean, the Declaration of Independence says that we are endowed not by government but by God with certain inalienable rights, and the beginning of that is the right to life itself. And so the purpose of government is to protect the rights that we have. And so when you have a situation where you clearly have a separate human being, at what point are we going to act like that there shouldn't be legal protections? And, yes, prior to the Dobbs decision, Florida enacted a 15 week where unborn were protected at 15 weeks, which was fine, but that's like only 4 or 5% of all babies. And so the heartbeat bill that was done provides more robust protections and will end up saving a lot of lives. How that factors in politically, I think on issues that are fundamental, why are you in office? Are you in office to put your finger in the wind and try to contort yourself into a pretzel? Or are you in office to be able to stand up for things that you believe in?
Do you feel like there's pressure from the elites or from the establishment, even within your own party, to cave on issues of gender ideology or abortion?
Oh, sure. I mean, I've had folks say that they wanted to support me for president financially, but they didn't like the fact that we battled Disney to fight against the gender ideology. We actually banned the mutilation surgeries in Florida for minors. I mean, think about it. You're talking about 12, 13, 14-year-old kids doing these life-altering, irreversible procedures. And what happens is as people get older, the dysphoria resolves itself a lot of times. It's like 80, 90% of it gets resolved by the time people become adults. And yet they've had these things done to them, which they can't change. Think about it. A 14-year-old would not be able to get a tattoo. A 14-year-old would not be able to sit at a bar and take a shot of whiskey, but yet somehow they could have their private parts taken off. It doesn't make any sense. It's been very, very harmful, and we've taken a strong stand.
The last 10, 15 years in the United States have seen significant challenges around religious freedom, around the contraceptive mandate, Obamacare. Do you think that the Supreme Court, now that Dobbs is the law of the land, is going to play the same role in the future of the country? Is it as important?
Well, certainly on religious freedom, we are not where we need to be. I mean, this country was founded on the idea that your right to the free exercise of religion is endowed by God and cannot be infringed by the government. Now, that was different from what was the norm prior to America, where you basically had toleration of religion, which meant elites would set boundaries as to your practice, but if your religion infringed on their agenda, you were expected to bend the knee to them. What we have in modern America is not an establishment of religion, of Christianity or traditional faith. What you have is elites trying to establish a religion of secular humanism, and they want that to govern society. And so people of faith, Coach Kennedy in Washington State, he says a prayer at midfield after a high school football game, and he loses his job. Now, yes, he goes up to the Supreme Court and he wins, but the fact that that's even a case shows you that religious freedom is very much up for grabs. So I think the leftist elites in this country, they really want to go back to an era of religious toleration. Yeah, go to church on Sunday. They're fine with that, but they don't want you to bring that outside of church. They don't want you to actually live your faith. And if anything that your faith would conflict with their agenda, they would absolutely expect you to bow down. I mean, for example, Supreme Court did the 303 Creative and Masterpiece cake shop cases, where you had people bring suits because they were being forced to do messaging that they disagreed with and that violated their conscience or their faith. And they won at the Supreme Court 6-3, but the three liberal justices would have allowed government to compel them to speak in ways they disagreed with. That is not what our founding fathers intended. So we need an era of religious flourishing in this country. I think the Supreme Court has done much better on these cases than they were doing 30 or 40 years ago, but there's a lot more to do. And it's not just the court, it's also how you operate government. For example, in our programs here, my wife launched a program called Hope Florida. Somebody goes in for government services, we have something called a care portal where we've invited the faith community to be a part of this. So churches can be plugged in, as well as nonprofits and businesses and individuals. So if somebody, say a mother gets evicted from an apartment, she's got 2 young kids, she shows up, she needs help. Well, just given a check, that ultimately is not going to really change the trajectory of that woman's life. But if the church comes in, well, then all of a sudden, you have a support system. It's not just statecraft, it's soulcraft, and you have people that usually don't go back then for government assistance because they're on a pathway to prosperity. So as president, I'm going to bring the faith community in and enlist their help to be able to lift people up. I think that that's something that's had great success in Florida. There's a lot of resistance to that on the far left. But the reality is government bureaucracies cannot solve these problems. You need to utilize all the resources available in our communities, and the faith community has an enormous amount of resources and potential to help people.
Thank you so much for your time. We'll be praying for you.
Thank you for coming to Florida. God bless you.
Thank you.